Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we will discuss some more questions on para jumbles that are generally asked in CAT and other management entrance examinations. The PDF version of the questions are already provided to you in the link that is there in the video description. So I would strongly suggest that you attempt the questions on your own first by clicking on the link. The PDF will open. You attempt the questions on your own, then come back and listen to the video so that your concepts become very clear. Why I'm always saying this is that when you have already attempted the questions, you might have already done some thinking on the problem. So when we discuss the things, your concepts become very clear, the techniques become clear to you. What are the things that we have used in arriving at the answer, how to eliminate the wrong answers, all these things become very clear to you so that you can easily learn the techniques and the logic, and then you can apply this in your exam when you are actually doing this on your own. So this is why I have I suggest that you attempt the questions first on your own and then listen to the video. All right, we will straight away go to the questions. So the first question. So what this is saying, once you read the sentences, you will get an idea that this is talking about a research firm called Forrester Research. It is a technology consulting firm. They have published 2 reports. And first report was saying that this movement of jobs abroad, or one report, you cannot say whether it is the first report or not. But it says that the movement of jobs abroad is only gradual, means what we call as offshoring. So basically it is talking about America, and jobs that are US jobs, or companies are finding it advantageous to offshore or outsource the jobs to developing countries like India and all. We are getting a lot of jobs from USA, so that because that is beneficial for the companies. And this research firm, they have said that this movement of jobs is only gradual. That was one report. Another report, the same research firm had stated in last year that the movement of jobs was very rapid, and the technology industry predicted 3.3 million service jobs in the US would move offshore by 2015, and that the IT industry will be leading the initial overseas exodus. What is exodus? Mass migration of people or anything from one place to another is called an exodus. So here it is the jobs that are being moved from one place to another. So this is another report made by Forrester Consulting. And now we have to find out how we can arrange the things. So by seeing this, what would be the first sentence? What could be the first sentence? This one. Because the offshore outsourcing technology jobs are cataclysmic. What is cataclysm? A disastrous jolt or a natural evolution of the economy. This question, can it be the first sentence? No, this is not talking about whether this outsourcing is a disastrous or it is a natural process. So first we have to talk about the 2 reports made by the research firm. One report was saying that it is a gradual process. Another report published last year, they themselves said that it was a very rapid thing, and IT industry was the first industry to have this kind of mass offshoring. So what should be the first sentence? This should be the first sentence. A means this is introducing the subject where they publish a report pointing that the movement of jobs is only gradual. Then how can you say what could be the next sentence? See this sentence, the firm bemoaned the rising tide of offshore hype. What is bemoaning? Complaining. That is called bemoaning. And the firm is complaining about the rising tide of offshore hype. What is hype? An exaggeration is called a hype. So here offshore hype means what? People are exaggerating that offshore jobs are moving offshore. That is the rising tide, means something that is gradually increasing. So the hype is increasing gradually. The hype regarding offshoring of jobs is increasing gradually. So the firm is complaining about that. So where this would fit in, whether it would fit in with the second report or the earlier report or the later report. Later report is saying that the jobs is only movement of jobs is only gradual, and there is a hype going on, and the firm is complaining against the hype. So what normally we can say that A will be followed by what? F. So A will be followed by F. If you are able to find out, then your answer is already there, because there is only one option where A is followed by F, that is option 3. All other options are First of all, only two options are there where A is the first sentence. So that is how you narrowed it down to 3 and 4. And there is only one option where A is followed by F, AF. So how do you understand that F will be the natural successor of A? How can you understand? Because of the word bemoaning and the offshore hype. Bemoaning means complaining. So in this particular report, the firm is complaining that there is a hype going on, that all jobs are going offshore. Hype means an exaggerated version of the story that a lot of jobs are going offshore. This is the complaint made by the firm in this later report, or the report that is published this month. So this is how you find out that A is followed by F. Then you can say, yet Forrester itself played a significant role. So once we talk about the hype, then we can say that this firm itself had a role in creating that hype, because they were the people who framed the debate or started the debate on offshore outsourcing, and as well as stirring fear. So they are the people who started this particular debate, and they are the people who started these fears, which resulted in the hype. So this is why this could be the next sentence, AFC. Then what they did, how they started the hype, or how they were responsible for framing the debate, that is given in option E. Because in last year, in November 2002, so we are basically talking about 2003. So in November 2002, last year, they predicted that 3.3 million service jobs in will move offshore by 2015. So the same firm published a report in the previous year in which they said that by 2050, lot of jobs, around 3.3 million jobs, are going offshore, going to be offshored into other countries. So that is why this hype was created. They were responsible for creating the hype. So you can say AFCE. Then you can come to the present. So what is really happening? So now this particular firm is saying that this offshoring is only a gradual process. There is nothing to worry, and there is a hype going on regarding offshoring. But they themselves were responsible for that hype, because they published a report previous year saying that a lot of jobs are going to be offshored. So now we come to the question of what is really happening. So the same firm saying two things. So what is really happening? Then is the offshore outsourcing of technology also a cataclysmic job or a natural evolution? So whether this offshoring is a disastrous process or a natural evolution of the economy. So this question, so the passage ends with this particular question, where the author is asking, what can we talk about it? Because one firm is giving two different opinions. Last year, they said that it is a very big issue. A lot of jobs are going to be offshore. This year, they are saying that no, it is a natural process. So what is the actually happening? Whether it is a disastrous process or a natural evolution. So that is how this logic is coming out. So option 3 will be the answer, AFCE. DB. So you don't have to spend too much time on this particular question. This is how you save your time in Para Jumble questions, by analyzing the sentences and finding out the first sentence and the second sentence. Or in some cases, even if you are not able to find the first or second sentences, find the sequence that will appear in between. And if you find an option where that sequence is there, there is only one option with that sequence, then you are very lucky. You will be easily finding out the answer. So this is the process by which you can cut down the time that you take for answering the or finding out the answers in Para Jumbles. So here I have given you the unjumbled sequence. Technology firm published a report this month pointing out that the movement is gradual, and the firm complained that there is a lot of hype going on regarding offshoring, but they themselves were responsible for that hype, because they published a report which predicted that a lot of jobs are going to be offshore. And so what is really happening? Is the offshoring technology a disastrous process or a natural evolution? So this way, once you the why I have given it like this is that once you read this in this particular manner, you can be thoroughly, or you can be sure that the sequence is correct. So this is something you have to do on your own when you do this in your exam. In your mind, you unjumble the passage, form the logical sequence, and then read that sequence in the correct order in your mind, and then you will understand that there is no logical mistake. So this is a process you need to do. Okay, now go to the second question. Again, what this question is talking about, the first you understand the context. What is the context? It is discussing about a book written by Anne Summers, and this book is talking about Nightingale. Nightingale, who is Nightingale? Florence Nightingale. We have studied about Florence Nightingale, a nurse who served in the British Army during the Crimean War between Britain and Russia, which happened in 1854. And at that time, she had done a lot of service by attending to the injured soldiers, and that is why she was given the name the Lady with the Lamp. This is and the nursing industry and how women became traditionally associated with the nursing service as a career. All these things started with Florence Nightingale. So this is something we have already studied. So the discussion is about that, and the book is saying that this particular book is saying that whatever we have or whatever we have understood about Florence Nightingale being with the Lady with the Lamp, all these things are not really true, and the reality is something different from the reputation that we have been made to understand about Nightingale. And why this reality is different, that is also given, because she actually started, or she served the soldiers in the nurse during the Crimean War only towards the end of the war. And this all the newspapers and the reporters, they had made this propaganda regarding Summers, and that is why the reality is different. The Anne Summers is saying that the reality is different from what we have understood. Then it talks about another thing the lady or the Anne Summers is saying is that the contribution of nurses during the war at that time was not only very marginal, because we generally think that during the Crimean War under Florence Nightingale, the women nurses made a lot of dedicated service to the nation. And he says that this is not true. Their services were only marginal because some reason is also given. So all these things are given. Now, how we can unjumble this? So what we additionally, since the word additionally is there, this cannot be the first sentence because it is talking about something in addition to something that is already previously stated. And the problems of military medicine at the time were caused by army organizational practices. So there were some problems in military medicine at that time. At that time means at that time. So since the phrase is at the time means that time, we have to mention in before. At the time means at that particular time. So here that is not mentioned. So this also cannot be a first sentence. Then option C, a book by Anne Summers aims to debunk. Debunk means what? Disprove. Disprove the ideal that we have believed regarding Florence Nightingale. And he says that reality is at odds with. At odds means reality is different from whatever we have understood about Florence Nightingale being a hero and she had a good reputation. So the book says that no, it is not correct. So this could be a first sentence, because the next sentence, Nightingale's place in the national pantheon, Summer asserts. Asserts means emphasizes. So first we have to say what Summers is saying. Only then we can say she is emphasizing this particular aspect. And again, according to Summers, Nightingale's importance during the Crimean War. Again, she is saying something. According to Summers means she is saying something, or according to her version. So first we have to talk about her basic opinion. That is why when we see all these statements, we can see that C only can be the first sentence, because it says that it introduces a concept by saying that Anne Summers, through her book, is trying to disprove the belief that we have that Florence Nightingale had a very big reputation during the Crimean War because of the services she did. And she says that this reality is different from whatever we have believed. And then what? Once you make a statement like this, you have to say why it is different. So if he says that the ideal or the idealization means we have thought of her as a hero. So that is called an idealization. So she is disproving the idealization and presenting a reality that is different. So when you are disproving, when you are stating that somebody is disproving the idealization and presenting a reality that is different, how, in what way the reality is different, that we have to say. So what can be the next sentence logically? E, because E is saying that her importance during the Crimean War was exaggerated. So that is why she is the lady is saying that the idealization of Nightingale was not correct. It has to be disproved, and the reality is different. So and she is so this has to be the next sentence, because why the reality is different, that is stated in option E. So C, E will be the pair. Summers Nightingale's importance was exaggerated, and she had only a very limited role. She became the nursing superintendent only towards the end of the war. So that is why she did not serve to or say her service during the war was not as extensive as we have been made to believe. That is the meaning. And then what could be the next sentence? Again, continuing the discussion, Nightingale, and why this idealization came about then. If the reality was different, then why we were made to believe that Florence Nightingale was a hero during the war. So that is why this sentence is describing that. Pantheon, what is a pantheon? A hall of fame or a place. Pantheon is generally associated with gods, a group of gods who are revered. They are called a pantheon. So in this case, a group of person or a group of people who are respected, revered, and adored by people, that is called a pantheon. So Nightingale had a very a big place in the pantheon, means she was adored and respected by the people, and this is due to the propaganda by the newspaper reporters of that time. So propaganda means false narrative or something that is not correct but was spread by the newspaper reporters. That is called a propaganda. So the author says that the Nightingale's heroic idealization was due to some newspaper reporters making exaggerated claims regarding the service made by Florence Nightingale, etc. So this was a propaganda. So her heroism or the idealization was due to the propaganda by the newspaper. So this is why CED becomes a good sequence. Now itself, you have already got the answer because there are many options that starting with the CE. CE means you narrow it down to 3 and 1. But CED means you narrow it down to option 1. So option 1 will be the answer. But still, we have to see the sequence for the sake of understanding the logic. Once we say this, then what we can say additionally. So not only is the lady Anne Summers talking about Florence Nightingale, she is also saying that the contribution of the nurses to give relief to the wounded during the war was only marginal. So during this particular war, Florence Nightingale was made a hero, which was not really true. And another thing is that the contribution of the other nurses to the relief of the wounded was only marginal. Why it is marginal? Because there were a lot of problems in military medicine at that time, caused by the practices followed by the army, and the addition of a few nurses to the medical staff would have been no more than symbolic. Means the nurses were the female nurses who served during the Crimean War. They were made out to be national heroes, of which Florence Nightingale was their leader. And this is what Anne Summers is disproving. And she says that the contribution of not only Nightingale, but the other nurses also was only marginal, because the practices followed by army at that time was not really good. As a result of which, even if you add some nurses that would into the medical staff, it would only make some symbolic improvement. It will not really improve the situation. So that is why this the contribution of the nurses were considered to be marginal. So C, A, E, C, E, D, A, B will be the sequence here. Even if you have not gone this far, even if you have understood about CED, then your answer will be correct, because there is only one option where CED is coming as a sequence. Option 1 will be the correct answer. Now, I have given you the sequence in the correct format. Read the sentences properly, then you will understand the logic is very clear. A book by Anne Summers seems to debunk the idealizations and present a reality at odds with Nightingale's heroic reputation. Why? Because her role was exaggerated, and in reality, she only served as a nursing supervisor only towards the end of the war. And her place as a hero in the national pantheon is only because of the propaganda by the newspapers. In addition, the contribution of the other nurses also was only marginal, because the practices of made of military in the field of medicine at that time was not really good, and adding a few nurses to medical staff could not have made any significant difference. It would have been only symbolic. So that is why he claims that the contribution of the nurses was marginal. So this is how you can very clearly say that the logic is CED. A, B. All right. Go to the third question. So this is probably the toughest question in this particular exercise. But once you understand the sentences and the essence of the sentences correctly, you will not be having too much of a problem. But for this, you have to focus a little bit and then clearly understand the logic. Only then you can arrive at the answer in this particular question. So my advice is that in this kind of para jumbles, if you are not able to get an answer in within 1.5 to 2 minutes, better skip the question. Don't spend too much time on it. You can use that valuable time for attempting other questions which may be easier than this one. So this is how you do effective time management, which is very important in CAT and other management entrance examinations. All right. So what it says, there is no pride in being an employee. So there is no pride in being an employee. There is nothing to understand here. Then second option or option B, reform in America has been sterile, means unproductive or without any productivity. Reform means progress or development in America is without why reform is given in capital means inverted commas, because if any word is given in inverted commas means it is something that the author is not really, it is not the author's idea, somebody's idea the author is saying. So what Americans consider as reform, it is unproductive. That is the meaning. So reform in America has been sterile, where reform is given in inverted commas means what Americans think of reform as proper progress is unproductive, because it can means America can, or the country can imagine no change except to the extension of this metaphor of a race. Means Americans cannot imagine about change unless the change is brought through a race or a competition. That is the meaning. So this is the meaning. So Americans always consider that change is leading to reforms and or progress, and that change will come only through competition, especially for the disenfranchised. What is the meaning of disenfranchised? Marginal sections, or people who are not having privileges like a lot of money, or born into a big family, lot of connections, influences, etc. So people who are not having these kind of privileges, or the unprivileged people, or the marginalized sections of the people, if they wanted to progress in America, they need to compete. So means the Americans cannot imagine progress which is leading to change without thinking of a metaphor of a race. A metaphor means what? A comparison. So it says that any progress, Americans believe that any progress can, especially for the underprivileged, can be achieved only through competition. That is the meaning of this particular sentence, which we have to understand very clearly. Then the next sentence is there is in our legends. In our legends means in our traditions, in our epics, means obviously this is an American person who is talking about this. So in our legends means in their legends, or when we Indians are saying it, in their legends. So in American legends or in American epic stories, there is no heroism of the office clerk, means office clerks are not considered to be heroes, and no respect for the stable industrial workforce who actually make the system work. So these are all people who are routinely doing certain jobs where there is obviously no competition or nothing dramatic is there, and that is why there is no respect, or they are not considered to be legends, because no heroic activity, they are not considered to be heroes. They are not respected, because even though they do something that is necessary for the system to work. This is the meaning of this sentence. And there is no attempt to call off the race. So we are talking about the competition that we have mentioned here. So there is no attempt to end the competition. That is the meaning. Then, since our only stability is change, America seems not to honor the quiet work that achieves social interdependence and stability. So since our only stability is change, means since what is constant is only change. So change is the only thing that remains constant. And Americans think of change only in terms of competition. So that is why, since change is the only thing that is constant, and Americans do not honor the quiet work that achieves social interdependence and stability. So the quiet work, Americans always think of competition as the thing that brings about change. So that is why they do not honor the quiet work or the normal work that is developing social dependence, that also is leading to stability. But Americans are thinking of stability. Stability is the only thing that is constant, and for them, stability can be achieved only through what? competition. So that change can be achieved only through competition. So Americans think of change is something that is the only thing that is stable, and change is achieved only through competition. So that is why they don't honor any quiet work, or people do some quiet work that is not respected. So basically, what is the idea? Americans do not respect any work that does not involve competition or race, because Americans think that progress, especially for the less influential or the less privileged people in the society, can come only through competition. So the normal office clerk or factory worker, they are not given any respect. So, and there is no attempt made to end this particular system where competition is everything, and that is why there is no pride in being an employee. So these are the things given. Now, once we have understood the logic, what could be the first sentence? Very clearly option B, because option B is introducing the concept by talking about what is the Americans' idea about reform. So B will be the answer, or B will be the first sentence. And then after B, what? After B, what can be the next sentence? Can you say that? See, so we have already eliminated this option. Then what can be the next sentence? Once we have presented one idea, if two contradictory ideas are discussed in a passage, and once the first idea is presented and there is no connecting sentence to that sentence, then obviously you have to introduce the second idea. So is there any connecting sentence here? Some of you may think that this could be a connecting sentence, because this option is also talking about the race. So here it says there is no attempt to call off the race. So why if we talk about a D here, then this logic is not clear, because why there is a need to call off the race? Because we hear the passage, the first sentence is saying that Americans' idea of reform or progress is that the people should engage in a competitive environment, or people should race against each other. That will lead to progress. And if you say there is no attempt to call off the race, then that is not really logical, because why should there be an attempt to call off the race? Or what is the reason why this is wrong? That is why you have to talk about the second idea, where it says that the quiet work is not honored in USA. So you can say E, because E is saying that E is talking about the change that Americans are thinking only in terms of race. So Americans think of change only in terms of race, and stability is change. Means the only thing that is constant is change, and Americans think about change only in terms of competition. So that is why they don't honor the quiet work. So that is why E becomes the next sentence, because first sentence we say that Americans are always thinking about change in terms of competition or race. They cannot consider any progress without competition. And because of this, and change is the only thing that is constant, that is why Americans do not honor any quiet work that is giving social interdependence and stability. And what are these quiet works then? Quiet work means what? Then we discuss about what are the quiet works where there is no competition. That is, no heroism of the offline clerk, no respect for stable industrial forces. These are all the quiet works. So that is why we can say that C will be the next sentence, because we are talking about which are the quiet works. So first we talk about the first idea, where Americans think of change only in terms of competition. Then we talk about the next idea. Because of this, they don't respect any quiet work. And because of this quiet work not respected, what is happening? No heroism is there for the office clerk, no respect for the stable industrial workforce. So that becomes a logical thing. Now, once this is over, what we can say? Because of, and once this is there is no attempt to change the system. Means there is, so this is the prevailing situation, and there is no attempt to change the prevailing situation. D. Because of this lack of change in the prevailing situation, the employees do not have any pride in themselves. So B, C, D, A. This becomes a Correct answer. So BECDA is correct. So what about BDECA? There is, I told you why D cannot be the next sentence after B, because why there should be an attempt to call off the race. So we have to say, we have to present a second idea or a contrary idea where without raising itself, the stability and change can be brought about, because doing quiet work also, social interdependence and stability can be brought about, and stability is directly connected to change. So that is why this is the second idea. So that is why D, this cannot be an answer. Then what about for option 4, B, E, A, D, C? B is correct. Then A, there is no pride in being an employee. That also you can say, because once you talk about quiet work, then quiet work is done by employees. So you can say BA, that also you can say. But once you say that, what should be the next sentence? Once you say BA, the next sentence should definitely be C, because the employee, who are the employees? The office clerk, the stable industrial worker, they are the employees. So you have to first then talk about C, then talk about D. So, but here we are talking about D first and then C. That is not correct. That is why this option is also wrong. So this is the right answer, B, C, D, A. Hope you got this correct, or you got this logic correct now. Even if you are not able to, you were not able to do this at when you attempted on your own. But these kind of questions are now being asked more and more in CAT. So please try to understand the logic and the technique, what we have to do. Obviously, you have to spend some time in understanding the keys there in option B. If you understand statement B and statement E, then your answer will be very clear. But if you do not understand option B and option E, then maybe you will have a problem. So I've given you the sequence. Reform is because Americans cannot think of reform only. Americans think of reform only in terms of competition, and change can come only through competition. And the only thing stable is change. And Americans do not honor quiet work. That is, even though it is bringing stability, then that is why there is no heroism, because there is no honor to the quiet work. The office clerk and industrial workforce, they are not respected, and there is no attempt to change the system, as a result of which there is no pride in being an employee. So BECDA. Okay. Now go to the next question. This is very obviously very easy one. So here we are talking about Galileo recanting his Copernicism. What is recanting? Taking back, or publicly declaring that whatever I was propagating is wrong, or publicly acknowledging that something he said was wrong. That is called recanting. Taking back, you can say. So, Copernicism, what is Copernicism? Copernicanism is a theory or a scientific theory which was propagated by Copernicus, then further proved by Galileo, is that the sun is at the center of the universe and all other planets are revolving around the sun. So, and obviously it conflicted with the religious beliefs or the biblical beliefs at that time, where Bible used to say that Earth is at the center of the universe and all other planets are revolving around this revolving around the Earth. So this conflict was there. So there was a lot of pressure on Galileo to withdraw this thing, and finally he recanted his Copernicism. And what was what did it indicate? So what did it indicate? So was it a victory for religious obscurantism? What is obscurantism? Obstructionism, or when a religion prevents some scientific facts to be understood by people, that is called obscurantism, because religion always propagates some superstitions and other kind of things which are not scientific, and people, when they get to know about some scientific facts which are directly contradicting or conflicting with the religious beliefs, religion or religious leaders try to suppress these kind of scientific theories, or try to prevent people from getting the knowledge about scientific theories. That is called obscurantism. So here, very clearly, this is a very simple question. The very clearly option D is the first statement, because Galileo, when Galileo withdrew his Copernicanism theory, what was it? What did it symbolize? So what did it symbolize? Was it a victory for religious obscurantism? Obviously, because Galileo's theory was based on science, but a religion's or a biblical theory was that it was contradicting. It said that Earth was at the center of the universe. So was it religious? Was it a victory for religious obscurantism and a defeat for free scientific inquiry? So this question is asked. And was it evidence that science and religion are inevitably locked in ideological and institutional combat? Means, was it another instance, or was it another proof that religion and science are always conflicting with each other, or they are always fighting with each other through ideology and institutions? So this is why you can say D will be the first sentence, then E, then A. Then the answer to these two questions, E and A, are given. And unsurprisingly, there was more to it than that. So obviously, unsurprisingly, there is no surprise that you cannot say that it is only because of religious obscurantism and the religion and science are always fighting with each other. There is something more than that in this particular discussion. So B will be the answer. And what is that something more? That is given in option C. On all sides of the case, there was agreement that it was proper and rational both to seek accurate knowledge of the world. So even though there were conflicts between religion and science about many things, which was proved by the Galileo's recanting of Copernicanism, it still means that both religion and science seek proper and rational knowledge about the world through observation of nature, and also to base one's beliefs in the Bible. So here the difference is that the scientific knowledge acquired through observation of nature should not be conflicting with the beliefs of the Bible. So that was the conflicting point between the things. This is the idea. So the idea is that when Galileo's recanting of Copernicanism did not really mean that religion and science are directly contradicting each other. It only meant that the religion and science both try to understand the world through observation, but when any scientific principles conflict the Bible, then the problem arises. This is the main. So here D, E, A, B, C will be the clear answer. So here you should not have any problem here in this particular thing. Only thing you need to understand the meaning of obscurantism. Even if you do not understand the meaning of obscurantism, you can understand what it would mean by from the context, because it is a victory for religious obscurantism. Means some religion is obstructing something, or religion is making something obscure. Obscure means unclear. So that is at least that much you should be able to understand. So this is how you can arrive at the answer D, E, A, B, C. And once you know that D is the first statement, then very clearly you can remove these two. Then D, E, A is coming, it is a sequence. Then B, C, or C, B. That is very simple, because first we have to say there was more to it than that. That means it is not as simple as we think. There is something more to it. And what is more, that is stated in option C. So that is why this option will not be the answer. First one will be the answer. D, A, B, C. So when Galileo recanted his Copernicanism in 1633, what did that signify? Was it a victory for religious obscurantism and a defeat for free scientific inquiry? Was it evidence that science and religion are locked or battling with each other? Unsurprisingly, there was more to it than that. On all sides, there was agreement that it was proper and national. More to it than that means than these kind of obscurantism and religion and fighting with each other. It is agreed that both are seeking to understand the world through observation, as long as any scientific principles are not contradicting the biblical beliefs. So that is what it means. All right. So now we go to the next question. Again, a very easy one. Sometimes the easiest questions are really the toughest, or the most complex to understand, because you have a lot of issues regarding where to place one sentence, where to place next sentence, etc., etc. But in this case, I think it will be easy. We are talking about books and articles, well-written books and articles, right? So how to understand? See, option E is saying it is fairly easy to find a well-written book or an online article. Option A is saying it is not always easy to find one with genuine value. So here we have a connection between the sentences. So first one, it is easy to find a well-written book or an article, but it is not so easy to find one with genuine value that you connect with. So very clearly you can say this becomes a sentence pair, right? E and A becomes a sentence pair. We don't know whether this is the first or second sentence, that we don't know. We know that it is a sentence pair. And then that's because these days books and online articles are dime a dozen. What is the meaning of dime a dozen? A dime a dozen means a lot of articles are there. So this D is answering the problem that is raised in A. A says that it is not easy to find one with genuine value. Why? That's because these days books and online articles are a dime a dozen. So a lot of books and online articles are there. So it is very easy to find a well-written book or online article, but not easy to find one with value that you can relate to. Why? Because a lot of articles are there. So EAD. Then what? Then this is actually extended. This idea is extended. There are literally thousands of them written on the same topic every year. So once this idea is given, it is extended by saying that there are literally thousands of them. Them means what? These kind of books and online articles that are given in the previous sentence. So there are literally thousands of them written on the same topic every year. So B. Because of which what happens? Deciphering means finding or decoding, that is deciphering the good from the great can prove to be quite a challenge. So that is why it becomes difficult. So thousands of articles are written on the same topic every year. So deciding which is good and which is great becomes a very big challenge. So EAD BC. So first we say there are very easy to find a well-written book, but not easy to find one with value that you can relate to, because there are a lot of articles, thousands of them are written on the same topic. So because of this, it is difficult to demarcate or differentiate between the good and the great, and it becomes a challenging option. So EAD, BC, option 1 will be the answer. So here, EAD is a sequence. Once you understand the EAD sequence, you can remove these two. Then BC or CB. BC is clearly, it's because deciphering the good from the great will come where after we say that thousands of them are written. So that is why EAD, CB will be the answer. Sorry, EAD, BC, EAD, BC, EAD, BC, thousands of them written, so deciphering. So EAD, BC, sorry, this is wrong. This is the correct one. EAD, BC will be the right answer. So that is given here, EAD, BC. Fairly easy to find a well-written book. Not easy to find one with genuine value that you connect with. That's because books and written dime a dozen, thousands of them written. Deciphering the good from the great can be a challenge. So that's all now. I hope this video was useful to you. Whatever techniques we have discussed, you have find it useful. You have found it useful, sorry. So if you think this was a good video, please like, share, and subscribe. And please do comment, make your honest comments regarding any improvements that need to be made, so that I can make these things. And your support will motivate me to come out with further videos. Thank you. Bye bye.